Hello friends, Father Joe. Hope you're doing well as we begin this month of May 2021. Of course, we're still coping, if you will, with the COVID pandemic, but as one person said in the last few days, we can at least see the light at the end of the tunnel, but we're not through the tunnel yet. We're still being asked to be cautious in many situations, in most situations, to continue to wear a mask, to wash hands, to socially distance, and if we're ill, to stay home, which always makes common sense, good sense. And of course, the push, in our country is to be vaccinated. And I would encourage you to do so. They talk about the country getting to 75% to 80% of the population being vaccinated to have what they call that herd immunity. And I would encourage you to do that for yourself and your family, and to also encourage others to do the same. Hopefully these efforts that we continue to make, as trying, as challenging, if they will, to whatever degree, will in the end, over the months, bring us back to some return to normalcy, or whatever normalcy is going to be like. We all know that in recent days, the CDC and the President said that if you're outside, with a little distance between folks, whether you know them or not, we don't have to be wearing a mask. But that's outside in small groups, your family gathering or whatever. But still not for big groups. And in a news report I did see in the last few days, churches were especially noted as still having the same guidelines, if you will, that were in place for gosh knows how many months now. And so we continue to cope with that to the best of our ability. So be patient. I know I've said that before, but be patient, do your part to make it happen, so that we're together as soon as possible. Parish life continues. In the past couple of weeks here, we've celebrated First Communion with 19 of our parish children and their families. Confirmation is being held in mid-May. We do that together. We do it with Corpus Christi. And of course, they have a bigger church than we do, and so we're able to combine the two classes, if you will, the confirmation groups, with limited, obviously, attendance. And then a few weeks ago, Easter time, and we're still really in Easter time as we do this video, we celebrated with 4 adults who were received into the Roman Catholic Church. Part of that process that we call the rite of Christian initiation of adults. And it's always interesting to hear the story of people who want to become Catholic, whether it's a relative, a spouse, or a friend, someone that somehow has been a good example of faith, a good example of not only being a good person, but also a very faithful disciple of Jesus Christ. And those people obviously make the faith attractive to them for whatever reasons. And so we applaud those who influence. We applaud those who guide and walk with our candidates for becoming Catholic, but also continue to walk with them afterwards. I mentioned in a homily in the service, the Mass that I had with these 4 adults, that their sponsors continue to be important, after that day. And, hopefully we do that for anyone we have a relationship with, because we were their godparent, because we were their sponsor at confirmation, just because we're good friends with whomever. We continue to baptize. Obviously we're doing baptisms individually, and for the near future we will do them at a time that would be outside of Mass. And if you have a child that has not been baptized, like to have your child baptized, call the office and we'll make arrangements with you in the coming days and weeks and months. We continue to celebrate weddings. We have a wedding coming up in several months, and again, might be a few regulations that are in place, but it should go off pretty much as normal as far as the celebration of the sacrament goes. The office is here. It's here. People are working. At least I'm paying them. You're paying them, but they are. They have plenty of work to do as we take care of all the day-to-day stuff that goes with running a parish, and they're here to assist you in whatever way or ways now and in the future. And of course, we're beginning to think about and also plan for what we might call the next year to come. We usually use that school year idea of what's parish life and what are some of the things we're looking forward to come September 2021 through August 2022. Maybe some of the things that we plan for in the next month or two for next year might happen. Some of them might have to be pushed back a little bit because of guidelines and restrictions that we have, but we hope that that is not the case. But we're working on it, and we ask obviously the parish organizations and groups that usually have plans and meetings and that kind of stuff to start to think about what's their schedule for next year. I must say that in talking to Faith Formation about the year to come, we're seriously considering having about 90% of the Faith Formation program still via Zoom. We found some value in that. However, we will have some occasions, not where all the kids would come together, but occasions where we might have a small group. Maybe they'd come together for an hour's retreat, or maybe they come together and do some type of project that then could be shared, with some of our homebound people and the like. So these are things we're working on, and hopefully if you're part of them, be in contact with Stephanie, get those dates to her, written wise or through an email in the next month or two. Financially, it's part of running a parish. I kiddingly said at First Communions, but not totally kidding, here it is. It costs money to run it. And I think we all know that. But sometimes I think we forget about it. We get caught up, especially with the pandemic stuff. And, we're thinking about our own selves, which is fine. But the parish is still here. And your donations allow us to do much. And as they have in the past, they've done during the pandemic, and will in the future. And so we thank you for those who are mailing in their donations, whether it's once a week or once a month or however you might mail in your donations. We thank the people, obviously, that are coming to church, limited as it is, understandably, but they're obviously placing their donations in the deposit boxes that we have, so to speak, for the collection as they come or go from church. And then, of course, we have electronic giving that many people are a part of. I don't know the exact number, but I do know that upwards to 25% of our collection is usually electronic giving. And we certainly would encourage any way to give, but we encourage the electronic giving. Even your pastor gives electronically. In case you were asking, well, Father, what do you give? I do give, okay? But I do it electronically. They usually don't pass the basket to the priest. Maybe they should. So when the new pastor comes someday, make sure that the collector goes up to the priest. Only once, though. That only goes so far. He won't see the humor the second, third, or fourth time. But anyways, thank you for all that. And speaking of, finances and the like, the parish was very, very generous when it came to our Lenten effort, our Lenten alms, to help those in need and the poor, if you will, not only locally, but across our world. And so your donations from Lent came to just over $7,000. Pretty good gift. And so it'll go a long way in helping people. And so this week, just toward the end of April, we sent out checks to various organizations with some of the, not all, with the money that you donated, and we split it up appropriately. So the people we're assisting, obviously, are the people in our sister parish, Guatemala. And hopefully we'll get a little update from them, and we can share that with you. And Building Bridges can also put a little, whisper in their ear to say, don't forget to send a couple pictures. And so, maybe a thank you, but what are you doing with the money? That's more important. Thank you is nice, but where's the good happening? That's the question. We also are giving some of that $7,000 to assist a lay Maryknoll missioner in El Salvador. For those who are with inquiring minds, her name is Peg Vamacy. Peg Vamacy has been in the missions, if you will, for a long, long time. And she works with people in El Salvador, sort of in a sense of how do you farm, in a sense, in a positive way. Although she's done other projects with people that are sensitive to the environment. Just like we're doing here in America, she's doing that in El Salvador. And I would call your attention to the fact that Peg has already responded to the gift. And she sent me a personal letter, because I've known Peg for, 25, 30 years. But she also sent a note to the parish, which will be in the bulletin, dated May 9th. May 9th. So you want to make sure you get that bulletin or get it online. And also, on the front cover of that bulletin will be 2 pictures. She sent 3 pictures of how things are going. This is the money at work, the people that she's helping because of her involvement and your support through Maryknoll and her work. Operation Rice Bowl, I think many of us have known about Operation Rice Bowl for gosh knows how many centuries and 8 centuries, but it was always a Lenten effort. And here in this parish, we've sort of went the sister parish route for the most part, but we don't want to forget Operation Rice Bowl, which helps people across the world. And so, you, the folks of St. Mary's Crescent, can literally say, we help people across the world, not just in El Salvador, just not in Guatemala, but across the world because of your donations and the gift to Operation Rice Bowl. More locally, we're going to send a check to Captain here in Clifton Park, and I think most people are aware of their outreach to the people of the area. And then food pantries, have, I'm sure, have their, it doesn't matter what time of the year or what the environment is during a year, there's always a need, and people are using our food pantries throughout our country for sure. And so we are supporting the food pantry in Cohoes. It's located at the All Saints, the former St. Marie's church at the school. And then we're supporting the effort, the pantry in Mechanicville. So that's pretty good. And you think about how this parish comes together with, just for example, that one effort of the Lenten alms, and how that effort helps so many people. And now you think a little bit bigger. You say, boy, other parishes are doing the same thing, just throughout our country, and how people are really being helped. I was certainly impressed. I knew they were doing good work, but Catholic Charities during the pandemic, I heard a statistic the other day, or read it, that said they were distributing food to those in need ever since the pandemic started every 3 days. And I think that, sometimes we wonder, well, what does Catholic Charities do? I give some money to the Bishop's Appeal. Excuse me, it's called what's it called now? The Diocesan Campaign or something. I don't know. They changed names. Us old people, we can't handle that. And but you know what I'm talking about. And we wonder, where does that money go? Well, there's an example. Some of that Bishop's Appeal money, I think we support the Bishop's Appeal, and excuse me for using the wrong terminology, but the Bishop's Appeal, of the $7 million they collect more or less every year, about 800,000 or 900,000 goes to help people in the diocese through Catholic Charities. And their budget, by the way, is about $52 million a year in our diocese. And a significant amount of money that does come from outside funding, grants and the like. So sounds like a lot of money, 800,000, 900,000, it is. We all wish we had that in the bank. But the bigger picture is they're dealing with lots of people. And so maybe this year when July, August comes around and we start to talk about the diocesan appeal, the former bishop's appeal, maybe we could say, let me make a little donation to that. I never did before. Or, I've been given $200 and maybe I can give a few more dollars. Maybe I can make it $250 or $3. Because recognizing the efforts of people, I think, helps us assist the work of other people. Getting back to normal, in our own lives has its own factors and reasons, but we ask the same question here at the church, at the parish. Things depend on a lot of other things. We have to follow the CDC guidelines. We're also in the state of New York, so, some of the things we do, maybe they're not doing in Florida or in Massachusetts, I don't know. But, we are under these restrictions, and hopefully they'll lessen in the months to come, but we still need to do it. One of the things in the parish, whether we're part of a pandemic or not, is we need to see the part we need to play, or I can play, as a parishioner in the life of the parish. I know it's factors depend on everybody and anything, but is there something that as we move toward the summer and move into the fall and even into the new year, is there some way I can be a little bit more involved in the parish? Just starting with masses on the weekend. I know that some people, for whatever reason, can't be with us. That's fine. But many people can be with us, should be with us on the weekend. And when we're back comfortably, as the pandemic wanes, hopefully, what can we do? Can you be a Eucharistic minister? Sure you can. Can you read? Yeah, maybe some say not for me. Well, okay. But for some, it's for me. Maybe you can be a greeter, Maybe you can be part of the ministry of music. Right now, one of the things we have to do after each of the Mass is we have to clean the church. It doesn't take that long. I don't know. Got 4 people. It probably takes 10, 15 minutes. But it has to be done. And that's just one area of parish life. We have a facility here. One of the things I said to somebody the other day, and it's not my job to be coordinating this, we need to have a building and grounds committee. We have some people that are very good to the parish with their time and talent, and that's great. But other people have time and talents to share. I remember a couple of years ago we did a cleanup toward the end of April of the parish, getting the thing raked up and everything. It was a great thing. Right now we couldn't do that, because, we you can't have big groups. But maybe a year from now, that's something that could be done come the 1st of May. People do it to clean up their Little League parks. Well, what about my parish? And on those ideas go. We have different committees. We have finance committee. Maybe there's people that should be considered for that position. It's limited, of course. We can't have 100 people on that. But same thing with the pastoral council. It's a council of about 10 people that work with the pastor on the life of the parish and the direction of the parish. And on it goes. You're aware of other people in the parish who are involved with whatever. So think about that. As far as getting back to the normalcy of masses, well, all I can tell you is The pandemic has a part to play in this, and then we monitor the numbers of people that are coming back. Quite frankly, even with the restrictions we have now, it's been very rare that we've been near our limit. Our limit is 125 or so at a Mass. Easter, that's an anomaly. It's always fuller. Christmas, it's always fuller than we think. So, that doesn't, sort of counts, but it doesn't count as to what's normal in the life of the parish for the other, 50 weeks or so. So, we monitor those numbers, and we'll get back to, a third Mass, possibly, but when, I can't tell you. I just can't tell you. But we're looking at it. I would say that, kiddingly, when we were talking about having more people assist at Masses so that we could have a third Mass, I said, well, what happens if the pastor can't do Mass? And we said, well, pastor, you need a priest. Well, you do need a priest. And that brings up two thoughts. First of all, the thought of vocations, I'll kiddingly, maybe not kiddingly, I'll say to kids sometimes, when you get older, you're going to be a priest. Who's going to take my spot? And I'm getting older. In case you want to know, I'll be 72. And so, they want to kick us out at some point, Not that we can't help in a parish, but full-time, a lot of people who are 72 that I know of have been retired for 2 years, 6 years, 15 years. I love it when my siblings, my brothers and sisters, retire before I retire, and I'm the oldest in the family. So what's wrong with that picture? But anyways, and I say about the pastor not showing up. The health of priest is like your health. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's in between. We all have those health days that are not the best. And so that's another factor. You don't want to overburden the priest. I'm just kidding. But, I say we're not overburdened excessively. But, it's a thing that we take into account. And speaking of the pastor's health, okay, that's not a lead-in to say, I need another operation. I don't. But I had a little setback here, and it's a little small thing. So I'm doing a little physical therapy, which is taking, obviously, a little bit more time from what I do in the parish. So I don't come into the parish anymore at 7 o'clock in the morning. I wait till 7:30. No, I'm kidding. But, that's where I'm at. Nothing serious. Life goes on, and we'll deal with it all. Again, we encourage the vaccinations. I think that as people become more vaccinated, and as it will take time. It will take time, I think, for people to get comfortable with the idea of coming back to church. When the CDC says avoid groups, and they even mention churches in some of their communiques, it makes you think twice or three times about it. And that's okay. But eventually, we're going to be back. We're going to be back eventually. I can't tell you when. And I can't tell you when you'll be ready to come back. It may be next month. It may be 2 months from now. It might be 6 months from now. I don't know. But in the end, I think we need to remember our faith is about being people who come together. We form a community of believers, community of faithful people. And so we need one another. We really do. We need to support and encourage one another in whatever ways that means. And ultimately, we do need the Eucharist, the sacrament of sacraments for us as Catholics. And yes, spiritual communion is okay. Everybody understands why we have to, in a sense, embrace that. But there will be a point down the road where many of us, in a sense, will probably say, I got to go back. Because I heard some of you say to me personally, the thing I miss, Father, is communion, the Eucharist. And good for you. And so we'll be back someday. as my phone rings. It's probably one of those crank calls, and I never know how this works. We'll just let it ring. Anyways, continue to watch Mass from Home, though. Things are buzzing all over the place. Continue to watch Mass from Home. We live stream it every Sunday. At 10:30. You go to a website and you just click down, watch the Mass live. Or if you're at another time, another day, you can archive it. Interesting story. I took a walk this morning down by the riverside. 2 miles out, 2 miles back. And there was a truck parked near the path. And it was some of the town workers. And I had met these 2 town workers last year before winter set in. And one's an elderly gentleman, he's older than I am, he's 74, he's still working. And then a young kid, my guess, I think he's probably mid-20s. And we were talking, and everything. And the young man says to me, because I did say something to him last year, they both said to me, hey, we're Catholic. And one told me where he goes, and the young man, I said to him, where do you go? Well, Father, I don't go. I said, hey, do you know we have live streaming? And I gave him the coordinates, stmaryscrescent.com. And he said to me today, I never asked him, he just spontaneously said to me, I watch you. He goes, I'm only up to Easter, but I watch you. And I thought it was interesting. And I said to a priest friend of mine this morning, I said, it's interesting the good things that live streaming can do. Because here's a connection between our parish and this young person that didn't exist before. Where it goes, I don't know. But, there's value in what we do. And we're lucky that we were able to do it. And we're lucky we can continue and will continue to offer live streaming during the years to come. So, get vaccinated. Come back when you're comfortable coming back, but someday we'll be back together. And thanks again for all your concern and your support for your parish. Be safe, be healthy, be happy, be blessed. God bless.